The reason I first came into the brain wellness spa is because I was very anxious. I couldn't really talk without crying, and I wasn't managing, and I didn't really know what to do. I did believe that it was circumstantial, so it wasn't that I was depressed. I just was finding it difficult to manage with stress in my environment. And so you know, when I got to that point, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to actually do about this? You know, and my daughter was the one that was really worried about me. And so she was the one that suggested that I try the brain wellness spa, and because she was actually quite worried about me, because she's always seen me as someone who can cope really well. You know, no matter what happens, Mum knows what to do. Mum's quite positive, she can figure it out, you know, and that's the way I've always seen myself as well. So to be honest, I was actually a little bit worried about myself as well, and I think that was causing anxiety for me as well, because I was like, oh, you know, I don't like not feeling like I know what to do about this. So when she said that and she suggested, you know, that I book in, I was actually quite happy to have something to turn to, because at that point I was like, well, what am I going to do about this? And I couldn't think of anything. So yeah, that's kind of where I was at before I came. I came with good faith, but I was really only going to come to see if it was going to help. So I guess when I came, I was very hopeful. I guess, like, gosh, I hope this works, because if it doesn't work, I'm really not sure what I'm going to do. But I was also a little bit, well, we'll see if it works. You know, because for me it was quite a commitment in terms of, you know, making the decision to invest my time and money into this. And so I was a bit like, well, I'm not going to do it if it's not worth it. You know, that first session was really significant, but then when I would find, and this kind of happened particularly in the beginning, but still even during the whole course, was that I would subtly notice different things. So it wouldn't be like a wow moment, but it would be like, oh, so I actually made a decision about that really quickly, or oh, that's not really, you know, I feel okay about this, instead of feeling really stressed about it. I felt less worried in general, and it was actually before I made a plan to go on this holiday where I was going to meet my brother for the first time, and I think that I was trying to get as many sessions in to give me the confidence to go, and I think, you know, I think I was done like up to session 6 or something by the time I'd left. And, you know, on reflection, when I look back now, and I think the position that I put myself in, going all the way over there and, you know, staying with him and trying to get to know him, but really I had put myself in quite a vulnerable position. You know, he didn't know me from a bar of soap, and all of a sudden I'm saying that I'm his sister, and it was like we had this very short period of time to try and get to know each other. And, you know, a couple of times I did feel as though I was like, oh, is he judging me, you know? And I remember kind of managing that really well. And, you know, it was 3 weeks, it was very intense. You know, I was living with people that I didn't know for 3 weeks, day in and day out, 5 people. And, you know, and I did it, and I managed it really well, and I got to know my brother and I had the confidence to do all that. And even at the end of it, you know, I went off by myself for a whole day in a strange country and climbed a mountain. So, you know, when I look back about what I was able to achieve in that period, in comparison to where I was at even just 6 weeks earlier, I was pretty happy about that. I think that was a pretty massive thing to be able to do, and it was on top of a whole 12 months of journeying to even find out who my brother was, to find out who my father was, because I never knew. So, you know, which might have added to, you know, where I was at in my crisis moment, because it had been an intense period of time, you know, over an extended period of time of anxiety and stuff surrounding that. And then coupled with an immediate environment that became very stressful and things that happened that I had to deal with. I think it all added to that moment. And so to be able to kind of, you know, achieve that and go and put myself in an environment where, you know, I was the only person, you know, and didn't really know how it was going to work out, or, you know, I was in a strange country, everything was strange, and I managed it really well. All of the challenges that we're facing at the moment, I'm still working full time. My workload at work has increased, almost doubled. I'm working in a high-risk environment because I'm a support worker in disability care in a group home. And then I go home and I have 3 grandchildren to care for, who now I'm expected to homeschool. And my daughter does exactly the same as me, opposite to me. So we both work night shift. We both do 7 shifts a fortnight. And when I'm working, she has the children. And when she's working, I have the children. So, you know, that in itself is a lot to take on. And we're doing it inside of an uncertain future. We're doing it inside of, like I said, all the restrictions and being kind of stuck at home majority of the time. And so, you know, yeah, sure, I'm experiencing a little bit of anxiety. Yes, I'm a little bit worried about how it's all going to turn out. I want my life back. But it's like everybody else wants all those things too. And so, sure, I have had my moments, you know, where I've had a bit of a cry about all of that. I've had my moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, is this all going to be okay? But overall, I feel as though I'm managing it inside of a really challenging time. How I'm feeling now, in comparison, is that I am sleeping better. I am prioritizing better. And I am able to let go of having to do everything. So, you know, before I think I was, you know, I have to do this and this and this and this and this, you know, and if I didn't get it done or it wasn't done to a particular level, it wasn't good enough. But now I just say, okay, so what is the most important thing to do? Are you okay to do that now? Yes, I'm fine to do that now. Okay, I'll do that now. And then I'm able to just let go of the rest of the stuff. I've been able to start a program and stick to it. And I just have a lighter attitude to life. And I can make decisions. You know, I remember this was going back early. I think it was in November, so it was probably maybe a month after I had started, and my daughter said, oh Mum, you know, there's cheap tickets to Bali, let's book them, you know. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. And like before I would be like, oh no, I don't know, and I would just take forever to make the decision and probably wouldn't do it. But I was able to be like, oh yeah, that's great, that sounds great, yeah, let's do it. So I was able to kind of like make a decision and not be worried about all the things. And we didn't end up going because of the coronavirus, but I made the decision easily, booked the tickets, paid for the tickets, and moved on. Didn't worry about, all the what ifs. I think I'm just generally lighter, happier, and not so serious. Not having to do everything so perfectly and not having to take it all on board. I can do what I can do, and then I'll pass it on to somebody else. It's not just me. I don't have to be the only one doing stuff. So, yep, a lot more positive, a lot more capable, and a lot more balanced. Medicine has its place, but for me, I struggle to take Panadol for a headache. So, because I have witnessed the damage that it does firsthand with my mum, some good friends, and I have made the decision I will never go down that path. And so, for me, it's made all of the difference to have an alternative way to manage with anxiety and stress and not coping. It's made all the difference, and it gives me comfort to know that there is something else out there than having to take a pill, because that isn't even an option for me. Freely share the fact that I come here and I do these sessions and how they work and what the difference they've made to my life. And I will continue to share that because, like I said, it's important not only to know that there's an alternative, but to know that there is actually a way of managing it at all. Yeah, look, I guess the only reservation that was there for me was the cost. But to be honest, I guess what it comes back to is, what is your health really worth? And what am I worth? At the end of the day, I was willing to make this commitment, not just for myself, but for my family. And I don't have any regrets. I do wish that it was more recognised, and I have shared this, because then it would be accessible to everybody and not just people who can afford it. And I can only pray that, one day that will happen. But I'm really, really glad that I made the investment, and I would absolutely recommend it to anyone